Okay, well, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us this morning. I'm very pleased to be joined today by Jean Todt, who, as you know, is the Secretary General's Special Envoy for Road Safety, along with Mr. Jean-Luc Decaux, President and co-CEO at JCDecaux North America. And also with us is Edward Mermelstein, New York City's Commissioner for International Affairs. And they are here to brief you on the UN-JCDecaux Global Campaign for Road Safety, which aims to create secure, inclusive, and sustainable streets worldwide. And I'll give the floor to them first. Then we're going to watch a very short film, and then we'll open the floor to questions. Okay, let's begin. Mr. Todt, you have the floor.
Thank you for the introduction. Good morning, everybody. It's my pleasure to be here in the UN headquarters in New York this morning and to present you something which is very dear to me as the UN Secretary General Special Envoy for Road Safety. It's a campaign, and it's the first time that the United Nations, together with the #1 billboard company in the world, JCDecaux, and we are presenting this campaign which will appear in 1,000 cities, 80 countries, with 14 international celebrities, and depending on the countries, with also national celebrities. And I'm happy also to be here with my friend Edward, with representing the mayor as the commissioner in New York City. As you may know, the road is the #1 killer for youth between 5 to 29. Every year, 1.2 million people die on the roads. Between 40 to 50 million people are injured with disability. So it's a burden for the victims, for the family, but it's also a high cost for the countries. And we have the prescriptions. It's around education, communication. That is why this company is very important. Law enforcement, quality of vehicles, quality of roads, quality of post-crash cares. You may know that road safety is among SDG 3.6, which is to halve the victim by 2030, and 11.2, which is to give access to public transportation to any citizen around the world. Through this campaign, we want to achieve a better understanding from people, and we need to have influencers. That's why we are very grateful to the celebrities who have accepted to be part of it. Simple things like buckling the safety belt in the front and in the rear, wearing a proper UN standard helmet, incidentally, which can be sold below $20 US, not using the phone while driving, not drinking or taking drug while driving, and respecting the speed would allow to achieve SDG. So we will show you this campaign. Of course, I'm happy to answer to any kind of question, but again, thank you for being here.
Please. Mr. Decaux, go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Jean. Good to see you here in New York again. Good to have a friend like yourself. Dear Special Envoy, Associate Spokesperson, New York City Commissioner for International Affairs, and ladies and gentlemen. Firstly, I would like to thank the Special Envoy and his team for organizing this event, and even more importantly, for focusing us all on the pressing issue of road safety. On behalf of the board of the JCDecaux Group, I underscore that we are honored to be a United Nations partner to communicate programs addressing the UN's Sustainability Development Goals, and these international road safety campaigns are an important part of it. I would also like to thank the New York City and our daily partner, the team at the Department of Transportation. It's a privilege to operate the street furniture program in this amazing city, my adopted home for over 20 years. JCDecaux was founded to provide streetscape services to cities funded by the communication posted on those services, and we have stayed true to that mission to today. As the global leader in the outdoor advertising industry, we have continued to innovate the services we provide, but we have remained focused on our first commitment as an actor in the mobility sector. 10 years ago, New York City was the first US city to implement an initiative that has saved lives, the Policies for Vision Zero, a key component of which was education and awareness. JCDecaux has been operating in North America for almost 30 years, and we are fully aware of our responsibility to the public and the role we can play to ensure a safe and pleasant public space for everyone. This campaign, as part of an effort we have supported since 2017, was launched in Brussels in last September. It has already been seen across Belgium, Mongolia, and South Africa, and it will, over the next 2 years, be translated into 30 languages and seen on advertising panels in more than 80 countries and across 1,000 cities. Today's US campaign launched in New York, Chicago, and Boston. It will communicate safety messages that can be viewed by almost 12 million city dwellers and their millions of visitors. It has long been JCDecaux's corporate social responsibility policy to encourage responsible communication, thus improving everyday life across the globe. This campaign underscores how our sustainable media can use its power and mass reach to raise awareness, to save lives, and further the message of international road safety. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Mermelstein.
Good morning. It's an honor and a pleasure to share the same stage with Mr. Todt and Mr. Decaux. Thank you for the honor from the United Nations. As Commissioner for the Mayor's Office of International Affairs, it is my honor to be here today to support the launch of the UN Global Campaign for Road Safety. Just a few weeks ago, we met Mr. Todt at the Equity in Motion Summit in New York City alongside Commissioner Ydanis Rodriguez of New York City's Department of Transportation, who will be joining us for the launch event later today. This collaboration is crucial as we share our best practices and the challenges we face regarding inclusive and safe mobility locally, aiming to contribute to the global agenda for road safety and the UN Sustainable Development Goals. New York City streets are notably safer and more equitable after 10 years of Vision Zero. As the first American city to undertake such an ambitious safety program, New York City has set a model that other cities, states, and countries are now emulating. Since the launch of Vision Zero, overall traffic deaths have declined by more than 12%, and the pedestrian deaths have decreased by 45% when you compare data from 2023 to 2013. Our success in making city streets safer and more equitable for New Yorkers results from a comprehensive approach combining engineering, education, and enforcement. New York City Department of Transportation has been at the forefront, striving to provide safe and sustainable transport for all, aligning with SDG 11.2 and reimagining the use of public spaces. This includes reinvesting in streets to benefit all New Yorkers through initiatives like Open Streets, where children can play and parents can connect with their citizens. The city has led 349 Vision Zero initiatives, with 97 led by New York City Department of Transportation, completing more than 1,200 safety projects and installing over 200 miles of protected bike lanes. Additionally, reducing the citywide speed limit to 25 miles per hour and implementing a 24-hour speed camera operations have significantly reduced the reckless driving in New York City. Among the notable achievements, New York City has also launched a Safe Streets for Seniors program focusing on making streets safer for older adults by redesigning intersections and enhancing pedestrian safety measures. Furthermore, the city has introduced the Vision Zero Street Design Toolkit, which provides a comprehensive guide for designing safer city streets and intersections, emphasizing pedestrian safety and traffic calming measures. New York City's expansion of bike-sharing programs such as City Bike has also played a significant role in promoting sustainable and safe transportation alternatives, with over 30 million rides taken in the past year alone. In addition to infrastructure improvements, the city's extensive public awareness campaigns have educated millions of New Yorkers on safe driving, as well as walking and cycling practices, further reinforcing the culture of road safety. In closing, I want to emphasize the importance of our collective efforts in promoting road safety. By working together and learning from each other, we can create safer, more equitable streets in New York City and worldwide. Thank you all.
Thank you very much. And I believe we are going to be able to watch a very short film. If that's ready. Yeah, let's see. Oh, here we go. It's a very short 2-minute film, so we won't keep you. Here we go. Okay, thank you so much. And I just wanted to say that that's a very powerful film by French filmmaker Luc Besson. So you can look it up online. And now we will turn it to questions. Yes, Edie.
Thank you all very much on behalf of the United Nations Correspondents Association for doing this briefing. My name is Edith Lederer from the Associated Press. You've said that you're targeting 1,000 cities in 82 countries. How long is this going to take, and when are you going to be rolling out this campaign in developing, least developed countries in Africa and Asia? And secondly, on New York City, the statistics sound great, but can you please tell us why we, and I assume this goes to every person in this room who lives in New York City, are constantly dodging motor scooters, motorcycles, mopeds, and everything else on sidewalks going in the wrong direction and not obeying any traffic rules? Thank you.
So I think this question is covering my colleagues as well, but I will start. We announced this campaign together with the Commissioner of Transport in Brussels, Adina Valean, last October. And so that was the start of the campaign in Belgium. And this campaign will last until end of 2025. And we have already started to communicate in Africa and in Asia. I was earlier this year I was in Mongolia to launch the campaign. I was also in Ivory Coast, in different countries in Africa. And it will go on until December 25. Maybe you want to add something on the campaign?
I think this initiative that we're working on with Jean is only the beginning. We, JCDecaux, have a presence in over 80 countries around the world, from Asia to Australia, to Eastern Europe, to Africa, to the Middle East, to the US. So you can expect this campaign to be displayed in all those countries. As far as we are concerned, this is the beginning of our collaboration. As Mr. Todt was just saying, this is a campaign that has a 2-year life, but I'm sure there will be another life to the campaign, another theme to the campaign. And without having to look too far down the road, I can tell you that the JCDecaux group will carry on working with Mr. Todt beyond this 2-year campaign. So it's not a first-time collaboration, and it's a long-time collaboration. We, JCDecaux, have a presence in more than 3,500 cities around the world. So that video that you've seen touches all those cities. And so it's a very important message. And again, as I said in my remarks, my opening remarks, it's a duty for a company like us that operates in the public space, that operates with cities all over the world, to use our medium to raise the awareness that is so important for all the issues that are touching the everyday life that you've described in New York City. So we want to make sure that this partnership is for sure a long-term partnership, a very important one, and true to our ESG commitment as well as an organization, as a global organization.
So while I will start with the fact that our Commissioner for Transportation is the expert on responding in detail, and he will so this afternoon. But as my colleagues have stated, there is lots to do. We are just getting started as far as I am concerned. There's quite a bit of education that needs to take place. New York only recently started with the City Bike program. The program is in many ways still at its infancy. And at the same time, people, bless you, are walking around looking at their phones rather than looking at pedestrian crossings and bicycles and cars. With that being said, we are still one of the, if not the safest city with respect to vehicle problems that have taken place, both with bicycles and cars. And New York needs to do better. We will do better. And with the help the United Nations and our partners at JCDecaux, I think this is a great start.
Okay. Pam?
Thank you, Florencia. It's Pamela Falk. The question to the Special Envoy is that the report says globally road traffic crashes are about 1.3 million, injuries about 50 million, and in the next decade it changes to 13 million and 500 million injuries. That's a pretty dramatic increase. To what do you attribute the fact that these numbers are getting worse? I mean, there's the pandemic, there's world downturn, a lot of things could explain it. But why? And then to Mr. Decaux and to the Commissioner, how do you get people to stop looking at their cell phones? Thank you.
So maybe about the figures. In fact, the Decade of Action started in 2019. At the time, we had about 1.35 million people dying on the road every year, which is a WHO figures. And evaluation was about 40 to 50 million injuries with disabilities. Last year's WHO published a new report which is stating 1.19 million people dying on the roads and still about 40 to 50 million people injured with disabilities. So clearly the SDG is 3.6 to halve the number of victims by 2030 is not going to be reached at this trend. European countries, some other countries around the world have been achieving these SDG goals. Unfortunately, a lot of countries, mainly in Africa, and in some countries in Asia, in Latin America, the figures are worsening. So that is why we need to act together with government, together with private sector, to kind of wake up what I call a silent pandemic.
It's a tough question you ask about solution. Obviously, the first one is education. That starts at a very young age. So I think that, you know, in the school program, there's definitely some education that need to be done. Then after that, you know, with the development of technologies, and obviously this is not from us because we are not the providers of the technology today of the cell phones, you know, mostly that was described by Mr. Todt of people walking on the street, looking at their phone or driving. But I'm sure that there is either legislation, regulations, and technology combined that could prevent the text and drive, for example. I mean, we've all had teenagers driving, and I know that on your cell phone you can have a setting that, you know, when it records, you know, the phone going at a certain speed, you can't receive text messages. So the technology is already there. So question after that is about legislations. You know, I know that we're not a society where we want to be told by our government what you can and cannot do. But, you know, when lives are at stake, there is a question that needs to be asked.
The one thing that New York has always been is a proponent of best practices, and we do travel the world in terms of these types of issues to see what we can find across the globe that will help us achieve zero, and that's where we want to be: zero deaths, zero injuries. With that being said, education is very much something that we need to address, and again, with learning from other cities and countries around the globe, we look forward to getting to the 0 point. But this is an important start, and we will continue cooperating and working with the UN as well as our colleagues at JCDecaux to find that goal of zero.
Maybe, I mean, just talking after Edward, the New York City's Commissioner for International Affairs, let me applaud the work you are doing in New York to addressing road safety. And I think New York could be taken as an example of input involvement, talking again what I call the silent pandemic. 93% of the figures of the victims I was mentioning are occurring in low and middle income countries, which is very important to figure out. Then it's a burden for the victim, for the family, but it's also a high cost for the society. It's between 3 to 5% of the GDP in the countries. I mean, the World Bank is evaluating the cost of road traffic crashes around the world at $1.8 trillion. Last year, the US government has evaluated the cost of road crashes at $340 billion simply for United States.
Okay, any more questions? Or any questions online? Okay. Well, if that's it, thank you very much for being here with us, and thank you, everybody. Have a good afternoon.
I just would like to add, if you want to join us in 15 minutes at the UN Plaza, there is an artistic performance by an artist, Dragon, and who will make a fresque about road safety. So you are all invited to join to see this performance by the artist. Thank you.